My wild Welsh garden has definitely got that end of summer feel now. Everything is turning and fading and sinking gradually down into autumn. Shwmai pawb. Hello everybody. I'm Isabel. Croeso and welcome to my wild Welsh garden. Well, I've been doing a little bit of sort of organising and arranging things because I do find at this time of year, I very easily feel quite low going into autumn. Not that I dislike autumn, it's just that that is the precursor for winter, which I do dislike. So, yeah, I'd always find that the best way of sort of combating that, first of all, is to get out into the garden, of course, and do some gardening, but also to kind of make plans for the future. So, I'll just show you what I've been doing. This is the view from just outside my back door, which I don't normally show you because this is where my horrible oil tank is. But I've just bought some new screening to go around it, and there used to be a bench there facing this way so I could sit and watch the birds, and I never sit in it. So when my son-in-law came last week, I asked him to move it, and I've moved it to the breakfast room. There seems to be a bit of a craze at the moment on YouTube for making secret gardens. And I thought, you know, there's a bit of my garden that's a little bit like a secret garden. And that's here. So I've done some rearranging. I asked my son-in-law to bring the bench up here. The butterfly watching chair is still there, so I can tuck myself away in the shade if I need to. I've put the wooden table there that's got the seedlings on, and then I've got the round table which I've cleaned for me to have my breakfast on. I never used to think that hydrangeas were very good news for wildlife, really, but this one in the corner here is just covered in insects. They seem to be just sort of sunning themselves. It's been quite a cold, wet night. Oh, and two butterflies. So I guess this is a good place because it gets the sun first thing in the morning. It's a good place to warm up. It's also a good place to maybe attract a mate. Yes, ever such a lot. Another bumblebee flown in. This was here when I came. The old lady that lived in the house before me, she propagated a lot of hydrangeas, and some of them had become very old. But this one has always been quite good and quite vigorous. So yeah, glad I kept it. So I've just been sitting here, chilling out, watching what's going on. It's very quiet bird-wise, very few birds around. They're all in the woods and up on the mountains at the moment. As soon as the weather starts getting cold, I'm sure they'll come back into the garden. And yeah, I've just been sitting watching the bees on this lavender here. Lots of bumblebees. There's the lavender here, and then there's the wild marjoram there, and the buddleia there. So this is a lovely bee border. And this little geranium down here that I haven't cut back. And then there's wild strawberries here. And the wild carrot. So yeah, lots to see, lots to watch. And while I was faffing about and sorting things out, I discovered these. These are the stems of the Angelica that I had earlier in the year. And I thought, well, these would be a good home for insects during the winter because they're all hollow. Yeah, quite a big insect could find a home in there. Even bigger one in there. So I thought I would, while I'm just sitting here chilling, I'd tie these together and hang them up in a tree somewhere. There you go. One bug hotel for the winter. So I've hung it up on this dead crabapple tree. This was actually growing where the rowan tree is growing now, but it died. It's I think it's pretty secure there. Yeah, somebody said it looked like a hat stand. But yeah, I put it there because I couldn't think what else to do with it, and thought, well, it's a bit of standing dead wood in the garden, isn't it? So we'll see whether anybody wants to come and make a home there. And the other thing that I've been doing is organising all my seedlings and seed trays and things. Last year I said I was going to have more native plants, more wildflowers in my garden. And so this is sort of part of that, really. Yeah, so what I'm going to do here is have the ones that need some attention, or the ones that are germinating. So here we've got Sweet Cicely and a white umbrella, for which I'm not quite sure what it is, but I collected it from down the road. And this is the mullein, the wild verbascum that I collected the other day. And the thing is that I think a number of wildflowers actually need a period of cold. I know Sweet Cicely definitely does, and I'm not sure about any of the others. So I'm going to leave those outside. These are the cookie flowers, the lady's smock, that I grew from basil leaf cuttings. And these are going to go into the lawn. There's a little caterpillar there munching furiously away. So they're not going to be there much longer. And then this is the ragged robin, which I sowed a few weeks ago, which needs pricking out. This is the purple toad flax that I need to pot on. I want to put them in bigger pots, really, before I put them out in the garden. And also I'm going to give some of those away. And this is the field scabious that I actually sowed about this time last year. So it's taken this long for them to grow. So I think that's the other sort of learning experience, really, about wildflowers, is that you're in it for the long game. It sometimes takes quite a long time. And I was thinking that wildflower seeds in the UK would want to be outside during the winter. I didn't think that they would want to be indoors or in a greenhouse or a polytunnel. But I visited a community garden a couple of days ago where they're growing plants for a nature reserve that they're restoring. And it was all sorts of plants that just live out on the heaths and the moors around here, and they were in a polytunnel. So I thought, well, I'm going to try another experiment. So this is a little table that I've got just down by the side of the cottage, so it's nice and sheltered here. So these are the plants that are going to live out. There's ragged robin, red campion, knapweed, a sort of dandelion-y thing, which I also sowed last year, the scabious. This actually is nightshade, not the deadly one. And that sort of lives in a hedge and climbs up things, so I'm going to have to decide where to put those. So I've been clearing the polytunnel. But I've got my wildflowers here. There's the ragged robin, the purple toad flax, the knapweed, scabious and red campion. And then here there's scabious, knapweed and the purple toad flax that are going to spend the winter in the greenhouse. So 3 different conditions, and we'll see which ones do the best. I'm still here, chilling out in my secret garden. I think this is going to be my favourite place to sit in the garden now. It's nearly tea time, so it's 1 o'clock, so cheers. And just to continue the theme of how I try and avoid getting too low at this time of year, well, any time of year really, try and have something to look forward to. And I've got 3 things organised. One is tomorrow, I'm going on a bee walk at a local nature reserve. Well, I've made no secret of the fact that I'm pretty hopeless at identifying these creatures that I'm trying to attract in my garden. I can tell the difference between a honeybee and a bumblebee and a solitary bee, but that's pretty much all. So I'm hoping to learn a bit about how to identify bees. The next thing I've got organised is I'm going to do a nature writing course, which kind of makes me laugh, really. It's organised by the Field Studies Council. It's only for a few weeks, but it's a sort of introduction to different kinds of nature writing, and maybe try and do some myself and get some feedback on it. So yeah, I might have a book in me. Somebody said that, you know, we all have at least one book in us, so I don't know, I might have a book in me, but we'll see. And the other thing I'm super excited about is something that I've just organised for the end of October. I'm going on a workshop at Knepp. Well, Knepp is a big estate just south of London, and it's been a sort of beacon of rewilding, really. Since the whole movement started. It started about 25 years ago, and all sorts of fabulous things have happened there, like the return of the nightingale and the turtle dove and the emperor butterfly, and they've just released white storks into the estate and beavers. So yes, all sorts of really exciting things going on. But they also had a walled garden, a Victorian walled garden, which used to grow vegetables for the house, of course. But for many years, it had just been a croquet lawn. So they decided that they would create a garden using rewilding principles. So of course they employed a Chelsea gold medal winning garden designer, Tom Stuart Smith, and various professors to advise them, and various horticultural experts to actually create it. So it's the other end of the spectrum from my garden, but it is a rewilded garden using rewilded principles, and they're running a course in how to manage a rewilded garden. So all these things that I've been agonizing about, you know, sort of when to cut your lawn, when to cut things back, when to prune things, I'm hoping I'm going to learn from the experts, really. So yeah, it's a long way from here, but I have a brother who lives in Portsmouth, so I'm going to combine it with visiting him. So that's the end of October, so I'm super excited about that. Yeah, so three nice things. Cheers. 3 nice things to look forward to. So thank you for joining me again. in my wild Welsh garden. Thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Wildflower.